Hey guys, what a day it's been for Elder Scrolls news. The global reveal event for the Dark Heart of Skyrim year-long event happened today in Las Vegas. We got a ton of new information about ESO and what to expect this year. So without further ado, let's get into it. The event kicked off with another hype-ass trailer from ZeniMax Online Studios, and they are so good at making these things. Every time I watch one, I'm just so excited to play the game. We get the reveal that Lyris Titanborn is back. We'll touch more on her later, as well as a look at vampires and Blackreach, which is going to be a strong focus for Quarter 2 chapter, which we now know is called Greymoor. Pete Hines and the creative director, Rich Lambert, took the stage to announce the year-long story, which is called The Dark Heart of Skyrim, which we already knew, and the big Quarter 2 chapter, which is called Greymoor. And we also discussed the first DLC dungeon pack, which is known as Harrowstorm. There will be a Quarter 3 and Quarter 4 DLC as usual, but these are going to be shown off as E3. So let's get into the first DLC. Harrowstorm is a 2 dungeon pack which will focus on the prologue for the year-long story. The first dungeon is called Icereach. In Icereach, you'll be teaming up with Lyris Titanborn to find out what's happened to an expedition team that's gone missing and an uncontrollable storm that's hit the area. You'll be fighting against all sorts of witches and creatures to uncover the mystery about what's happened here. The second dungeon is called the Unhallowed Grave. The Unhallowed Grave is going to be like an ancient burial site that has been remained closed for so long that no one actually knows what's inside, and a group of bad guys have been trying to open the grave, and your dungeon group is going to be trying to stop them from uncovering the secrets, as well as you'll probably find out what is in the cave anyway. The stories on these dungeons are kind of focused on laying the foundations for the year-long stories around the Dark Heart of Skyrim. It was mentioned in the post-show as well that you're really going to find out what the Dark Heart actually means when you do these dungeons, as well as the prologue story that's going to come with it. The Harrowstorm update will also include the first major performance updates that they've been talking about. This will come with the patching overhaul, which we've discussed previously, which will mean you'll have to download the whole game again. But what it will mean is that the game is going to be about 30 gigs smaller on your actual disc or your PC storage device, wherever whatever console you're using. The game will run faster, it'll load faster, and you'll have a slightly better FPS. This is the first of the major performance updates that they're working on, and the others will be continuing to come as they've discussed already. This DLC pack will be on the PTS next week. They haven't announced a specific live date as yet for the first DLC, but we can probably expect that to come within a month or so, I imagine. The big update for the year here is the Greymoor expansion in Quarter 2, similar to the Elsewhere expansion we got last year, and Somerset and Morrowind that we've got before that. Greymoor will be focused on the western region of Skyrim, bringing back old areas from the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim that we will remember. However, they specified this is going to be a bit of a different take on these areas, as ESO was set about 1,000 years before the events of Skyrim. Rich mentioned that we'll be going to locations like Solitude and Morthal, the Dragon Bridge, as well as some of the caves that are really well known from Skyrim, such as the Shadowgreen, which is going to be a delve, as well as one of the most well-known locations in Skyrim, Labyrinthium, which is going to be a public dungeon. As mentioned before, Lyris Titanborn is back, as well as her voice actor Jennifer Hale is returning, and she'll be your guide throughout the region and the story as a whole. I imagine this is going to be very similar to Abnathan and his role within the Elsewhere expansion. There will be different biomes in Skyrim, like the big snowy regions up the top near Solitude, as well as some bogs and that kind of thing were touched on as well. A big focus of the chapter will, however, also be on the Blackreach underground system from Skyrim. Blackreach will be about 40% of the explorable area in the Skyrim region, so the actual region of Skyrim is going to be smaller, but you're going to get a massive chunk of underground systems, similar to what was in Skyrim, but they're going to expand on this significantly, and there's going to be a lot of new stuff down here: vampires, werewolves, creatures, all sorts of stuff, and it's going to be a big area and with lots of questing down here from what they kind of explained. The main focus of the story in this chapter is going to be a very dark and gothic tone with the vampires from Blackreach, as well as the clans in the Skyrim region, as King Fargrim, who is ruling in the region, didn't join the Ebonheart Pact, and he isn't too happy with Jorah and the Skull King being, best friends with the Dark Elves and the Algonians. There's going to be a big focus on the power struggle between the two kings and the different Nords and their factions, as well as the underground environments and the vampires and everything that's going to bring to the story. In this region, according to Rich, we're going to get about 30 hours of content, including 2 public dungeons, the usual delves we get, as well as a new Dark Anchor mechanic, which we've been getting in most of these zones. Like in Elsewhere, we had the dragons. In Somerset, there were those portal things, and a new trial called Kian's Aegis. I think I pronounced that right. I don't know, but we'll roll with it. That'll do. On top of all this, there's going to be 2 additional major changes to the game. One of them, which I'm actually really excited for, is called Antiquities, which is a completely new system. This is a new activity which isn't focused on combat or quests. Basically, the player will be acting as Indiana Jones and digging up old items in the world for various rewards. The general loop of this system is going to be focused on 2 mini-games. The first one will be scrying an item to try and find the location of the historical thing you're looking for, and the second one will be focused on excavating, that's a difficult word, on the dig site. So you'll have to go to that location in the world and dig out whatever item you're looking for. There will be 2 different skill lines linked to this whole process, and once you've gone to the dig site and you've dug up your precious item, these items will be focused on different things that you'll find, like housing trophies, new cosmetics, emotes, an exclusive mount, PvP items like a new siege weapon, and a brand new type of gear called mythic items, which I'll touch on in a second. The whole focus of this new activity was to give something to the players that isn't focused on questing or combat. It's something for all players alike and all different walks of players, from, you know, housing enthusiasts to PvP people and PvE with the mythic items, so that, you know, there's a new activity for them to do and to really delve into. Now, a really cool new thing is the mythic gear, which is, it seems like this is going to be the only way you can get it. They didn't mention if it was possible through another method, but the mythic gear are unique items which come at only CP 160. They're gold level gear and you can only wear one at a time, and each piece of gear has a unique property. The example that was given is like a piece of jewelry that increases your movement speed in combat and out of combat, or a heavy chest that when you block it also restores your magicka. The focus here was to really give players more options once they hit CP 160, as well as develop their builds just that little bit further. The second big change is a complete revamp of the vampire skill line. The devs have been looking at the skills and abilities for this line and trying to expand and improve what it means to be a vampire, trying to create like a real vampire experience, making you feel like, you know, you're actually a vampire in the world. So what they've done is they've made feeding more worthwhile. There's new animations tied to this. You'll also have to be careful where you feed, as just like necromancy, it's an unsavory activity and you'll get bounties on your head if you're caught doing so. They didn't talk much about the new abilities, but Rich did tease a new ultimate ability for the skill line, which was actually revealed in the post show. It's called Blood Siren, and you'll be able to turn into a vampire lord just like in Skyrim. They pointed to the statue that comes with the physical collector's edition as kind of like the design for it. Other than this, they briefly touched on Q3 and Q4 as well. The Q4 story DLC was teased to be focused on the Reach area of Skyrim. More of this will be shown at E3, along with news with the Google Stadia release, which is also going to come at E3. The game is also being localized in Russian, the text only. I don't think they said the vocals, but the text is going to be local. The Greymoor chapter is up now for pre-purchase, as well as a physical collector's edition with that cool statue. So what do y'all think of all this news? Are you excited for the Greymoor expansion and returning to Skyrim? I personally am. I can't wait to go back to Skyrim. Let me know in the comments below, but that's all for today. Thank you for watching. My name is Norza, and have a great day.